Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bonding with Ashley. I'm your host, Ashley Bond. Today, I want to talk about perseverance. So, the true definition of perseverance is working continuously to overcome obstacles or work towards something despite difficulty. One of my biggest memories of perseverance is my first year of being a part of the Chicago Lovables, the Chicago Bulls NBA dance team. And for those that don't know, you have to try out for that team every year. There are hundreds of girls that audition. Just because you were on it the year before does not mean that you were going to make it again. Our team specifically was extremely aerobic, anaerobic, dance heavy. We had hours and hours of practice. We had tons of physical and physicality involved within our rehearsals. I think there's different levels and styles of dancing, and ours I would categorize as extremely physical, demanding on the body, taxing on the body, all of those things. And my first year was so exciting, right? Everything's new. You're learning, you're meeting new women, you're working on this. It was so new to me. We had practice twice a week over the entire summer leading up to the season. It was so exciting. And right before the first preseason game, or maybe second preseason game, I got in a car accident and I got whiplash. My neck hurt me so badly that I was dizzy all the time. I felt sick. Beyond that, though, there really wasn't anything wrong. So there wasn't specific things that people could really work on. I worked with like massage therapists. I worked at a gym at the time. So they were helping me, do exercises and practice different things. And at practice, I sat out for a little while until I got better and felt like I could jump in and do everything to the best of my abilities. Also, we used to do a lot of head rolls and hair flips. So our hair was always down, our hair was whipping around everywhere, and there was a certain way that you had to do your head rolls. We called them head rolls, but they could be called hair flips or hair whips, whatever you want to call it. So when I talk about my neck, I had to use it all the time. By the time I was well enough and felt good enough to jump back into everything, weeks had gone by that I felt like I was so far behind. I felt like I was keeping up with everything when I first joined the team. I felt like I was on a roll. I felt like I was on par with everyone else in terms of my abilities and learning everything. Well, because of this, I had missed all of preseason. I had missed all of this time where the girls got to be actually on the court, learning how everything worked, learning the timing of the game, learning where we're supposed to be, where we're not supposed to be. And also, it's important to note that we had to audition not only for the squad every year, but we had to audition for every single game that we had to be at. And we were roughly scheduled to be at every other game. But you had to audition for those games, even though it was your game. You might not make it. So I felt so far behind. I started getting cut from my scheduled games by the time I got back. I felt so far behind. I started getting anxiety about it, things, and I have been dancing my whole life. So things for me, worrying about my formations and where I should be on the court, were extremely, extremely stressful. And I started waking up early to work with some of the older girls on the team. Some of them could only meet at 7 a.m. So at the time, I would take the train into the city. I would go meet them from 7 to 8 a.m. because that's the only time that they could meet with me. I would hang out downtown, figure things out, keep practicing everything. And for whatever reason, things were just not clicking. I finally had my first game. I think it was the end of January. I remember there were things I walked in and I just had no idea. The other girls would be like so sweet. Like the other girls, we were rookies. So the other rookies would be like secretly like whispering things to me. And I was getting like treated as if I had been to multiple games before because everyone else had been. So they would be like, Ashley, why aren't you doing this? Or why don't you know where you're going? And I'm like, oh my God, because it's my first game. Like, but you weren't really allowed to say that. And so I was so freaking nervous and in my head. But every single week, I was constantly seeking out help from the older girls and really doing everything I could to practice. I finally had someone that I worked with at the gym, and she was one of the instructors, and she was actually like a very big anaerobic fitness athlete. And she finally looked at me and she said, "Why are you so nervous?" And I was like, "I don't know." And she looked at me and she said, "You have been doing this your whole entire life. Do not let this make you nervous." And I still remember that. I remember exactly where we were sitting in the gym when she said that to me. And I really appreciated it because it kind of pulled me out of my head and really allowed me to remember all of the experience that I had in the past. Now, mind you, time went on. I think I got cut from a few more games. I'll be honest, I don't even remember how many times I actually did dance my first season on the Bulls. I even remember there were people close to me in my life that were like, "Why are you doing this anymore? Like, this cannot be enjoyable. The amount of time and energy and effort that you're putting into this to not be able to do what it is you love, like, why are you doing this?" And I just always remember saying, I cannot quit. Maybe I'll choose not to do it next year, but I am not quitting. If they want to get rid of me, they can do that, but I will not quit. And the end of the season came around. I was like, okay, do I want to do this again? And kind of by the end of the season, I'm like, of course I want to do this again. I can do this. I can do this. I had this moment that set me back. I had this car accident that was beyond my control. It set me back. There's nothing I could do about it. I worked my butt off to try and catch up. That I worked really hard to get my mind right, to get my head back in the game. And I was like, you know what? Next year is a new year. I'm going to do this. I worked on things over the summer. I went and took some dance classes. I went and just tried to also work on finding joy in things and finding joy in dancing again and kind of remembering why I loved it in the first place and remembering all of the experience that I had in it. And over that summer, it built up my confidence again. Me and a lot of the rookies became very close that summer. We were doing a lot of things together. We were extremely supportive of each other. As you guys know, I talk about the board now. So many of them in that time period, we are still super, super close. So when that second year came around to audition, I was like, I'm doing this. I'm totally doing this. I can do this. And that second year, I auditioned and I made it, and it was hard, but I did it, and it was wonderful, and I'm so glad I did. I don't think I ever got cut from a game again. I don't know if that's true. I think if there was one game that I got cut from, it was after a knee injury, and I just could not keep up with the routine. So I think I did get cut from that one. But I was on it for another 5 years after that. And I look back at that and I think, had I given up and just decided it wasn't worth it, which, if anyone else has ever been in that moment or experiencing something like that, I don't judge anybody for knowing what's best for them. I just knew deep down what was best for me. And I knew that it was to keep going. And I'm so grateful that I did. And I think that mindset helped me. I knew that I was meant to do this. I knew that I could do a good job. I knew that I wanted to be out on that basketball court. I knew that I wanted this to be a part of my life. I knew that I wanted those women that I had built these relationships with to be a part of my life. And I am just so, so grateful that I had the perseverance to continue on and go after what I wanted, because I can genuinely say that my life would be completely different now had I not. And I hope that that story inspires you in some way, and it doesn't have to be in the magnitude of what that was for me, because I have talked about how big of an impact being a part of the Bulls has meant to me and has been in my life. But I encourage you, if there is something you genuinely believe in your heart or feel that you should accomplish and want to accomplish, and you could safely do it, I really encourage you to have the perseverance to do that and have something that you are so happy about and proud of, that you finished to your definition of success. Maybe for some people, stepping into my shoes, maybe just finishing that first year and not quitting would have been enough to feel successful and to feel accomplished. Maybe it wouldn't have been even coming back. So I hope that in some piece of your life, you can feel inspired to persevere and go after some of the things that you really want in your life. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I'm always open to questions. I actually love answering questions that people have about my experience, about my time there, sharing this story. I think a lot of people, I have been told by some people, a lot of people assume that a lot of things in my life came very easily to me, and that's not true. And I want to share that, and I am open to talking and answering questions. And I hope by doing this sparks conversation between you and other people, or inspires you in your own life. So please feel free to reach out to me. I enjoy hearing from you guys, and I can't wait to chat with you next time.